Thank you for your practice this morning and your commitment to coming here, to yourself, to your own well being, and to waking up. So, we come to practice because there's some existence beyond the ordinary life that we see. And we can know it, or we can intuit it, that there's a greater thing than the mundane life that we inhabit. And we'd like to access and even live in a world that is more meaningful, a world in which we can realize the goodness and the importance of our lives. So the reading that I just shared was Kabir, a great 15th century Indian Sufi mystic. And he tells us the same as all the great wisdom teachers have taught us. And that is the way to the most profound is through this moment's very simple experience. And that's exactly what the Buddha taught. In Buddhism, there's what's known as the four Mahabhutas, or the four elements. And this is a way that describes how all matter appears, all form. And in Pali, it's called rupa. Because we live in a world of form. And the four elements in this world of form are called earth, water, fire, and air, or wind. And earth has this property of solidity. Water has the property of fluidity, and fire, the property of heat or temperature. And air has the property of movement or motion. Sometimes there's a fifth element, which is that of space that holds the other four. And sometimes even sixth element, consciousness or awareness, the element of space around it. So I'd like to talk, I'll probably talk in the next few weeks about these four qualities and how we are so intimately connected with them. I'd also like to give you a way to work with them, just it brings us closer to the formless. It's a way we go through the world of form to something very vast and unnameable. So in material science, the outer or objective facts are important, very important. But on this path of inner exploration and transformation, the subjective is essential. So neither one is better than the other. Inner and outer are both explorations, but they work in very different contexts. And the goal of practice, of working with the elements, is essentially to sense these four individual energetic qualities in our own body and mind. And we also see them and experience them in the world around us. So we're looking at our physicality as an interplay of elemental qualities. And we also come to understand that we're not different from nature. We're not different from the life around us. So there's many different ways of seeing the world. And looking at the world in this way is just one lens. Usually, we experience ourselves through the lens of comparison and judgment. Too fat, too old, too ugly, not good enough, something or other. And this is a suffering lens. It's a lens that creates and sustains a sense of separation and a feeling of not belonging. This lens of judgment in comparison strengthens estrangement from the world. So what I'm inviting you to do is to step out of the realm of comparing mind and acquiring mind. And actually, it's to stop taking your body so personally, not judging it, just experiencing it and becoming more and more nuanced in sensitivity. This will make us more unique and more conscious human beings. So when we experience ourselves on the elemental level, it frees us. And it's a much more wholesome way of regarding our bodies as unique and the earth as sacred. So the earliest Buddhist texts explain the four primary material elements as the sensory qualities of solidity, fluidity, temperature, and mobility, respectively. Earth, water, fire, and air. So instead of concentrating on the fact of material existence, one experiences the felt sense, how a physical thing is sensed, perceived. So the four elements is a core practice of mindfulness of body, largely drawn from the Satipatthana Sutta, which what our practice is founded on. But I don't care so much for the word mindfulness because it's ridiculously overused. And there's this mindfulness marketplace now with way overemphasis on technique. And it's useful sometimes, but the bottom line is that even very genuine mindfulness is only a finger that points to the moon. And there's this danger that the technique, or any technique, puts a kind of a pressure on us. So we make direct contact with the elements in order to understand them, but in a non-intellectual way. I'll start with the element of air. The air, or the wind element, is Vayadhatu in Pali. We live in a world of air, of breath. We see the leaves on the trees move from the breeze. We see the clouds moving in the wind. And our moods are actually expressed through our breath. Even our thoughts are said to be an expression of the air element. They come, they go, they appear out of nothing, have a temporary quality, and then they disappear into the air element. And speaking and listening require air. Words come out with the out-breath, and they travel on the air, even electronically, to you before they enter into your ears. We join our breath together when we sing or we chant. And the yogis developed pranayama. Pranayama is this ancient breath technique that originated from yogic practices in India the art of breathing, using and developing breathing techniques that actually affect our mood or our mind states. Pranayama involves controlling the breath. And relatively recently in time, in the last 50 years or so, it's gained popularity in the Western world because there's so many health benefits that come from a pranayama practice. So this air element represents the quality of expansion and contracting, the forces of expansion and contracting. It's part of the pulmonary system and the intestinal system. Air is this gas that's all around us. It moves through us within our lungs, breathing, vibration aspect of air. And air doesn't belong to me or you. You know, the same air is breathed by all living beings. And when we die, air escapes us and returns to the atmosphere. John F. Kennedy said, air is the most basic common link that's shared by all who inhabit this planet. We all breathe the same air. There's a nice quote by Robert Louis Stevenson. It's not so much for its beauty that the forest makes a claim upon people's hearts, as for that subtle something, that quality of air, that emanation from old trees that so wonderfully charges and renews a weary spirit. So air is all around us, but we can't see it. It's that invisible mixture of gases that surrounds the earth, and every species needs it to survive. Mostly it's made up of three gases, nitrogen, oxygen, and argon, and there are other gases in small quantities. The air element contains other elements. Actually, all the elements do. The air contains water vapor, temperature, the fire element, and the earth element, solids, like pollen and dust and soot and pollution from car exhaust and power plants. And these solids are picked up naturally when the wind blows. Clouds are also air. We can't live for 5 minutes without the air moving through our lungs and oxygenating our blood. No air, no life. And still it goes very taken for granted and unappreciated. So meditation is staying in connection to the air that moves through us, the breath, and being with it as it comes and as it goes. And moving from taking a breath to the awareness of breathing happening through us, the feeling of being breathed, like it does in babies or when we're asleep. And it's our connection with all life and all plants. So finally, I'd like to say that the Mayo Clinic found that the extra intake of air through laughter is really healthy for our bodies. When we laugh, it helps with stress release. And there's a lot of data about the positive things laughter and this extra air can do for us. Not just lightening our load mentally, it actually induces physical changes in your body. The extra air when you laugh stimulates your hearts, your lungs, your muscles, and increases endorphins that are released in your brain. So here is an air joke that you may have heard. It's from the General Theory of Love, which is one of my favorite books, A General Theory of Love. Neurotics build castles in the sky. Psychotics live in them. And psychiatrists collect the rent. A wise fourth grader said, "I'm not sure how clouds are formed, but clouds know how to do it. That's the important thing. Water vapor gets together in a cloud. When it gets big enough to be called a drop, it does." And the same fourth grader said, "Rain is saved up in cloud banks." Another less relevant saying from a fourth grader is the four seasons are salt, pepper, mustard, and ketchup. Laughter can also stimulate a circulation. It aids in muscle relaxation, and the extra air that we take in improves our immune system, eases pain, improves the mood, lessens stress, depression, anxiety, makes you feel happier, and helps your self-esteem. And what was not in this study, but known to all of us, laughter opens the heart. There's a rather profound quote from another fourth grader that says, "You shouldn't say I love you unless you mean it. But if you mean it, you should say it a lot, because people forget." I'll end with a reading by Rumi. In every breath, you're the center of your own desires. You'll lose the grace of your beloved. If in every breath you blow away your self-claim, the ecstasy of love will soon arise. In every breath, if you're the center of your own thoughts, the sadness of autumn will fall on you. But if in every breath you strip naked just like a winter, the joy of spring will grow from within. Let go of the effort, and peace will arrive. All your unfulfilled desires are from your greed for gain of fulfillments. Fall in love with the agony of love, not the ecstasy. Then the beloved will fall in love with you. So for homework this week, wake up and notice and appreciate and love the air around you. May our practice go out into the world like breath and be of benefit to all beings. Thank you for being here this morning.